Have you ever heard a whisper in the dead of night, one that sends shivers down your spine? What if the stories we dismiss as urban legends are more than just tales? What if there's truth hidden in the shadows? Ravenwood was an ordinary small town by day, but as the sun dipped below the horizon, the air thickened with whispers of the past. It was said that once you entered Ravenwood after dark, you never returned the same. Some claimed the town was cursed, others spoke of shadowy figures lurking just out of sight. What really happened in Ravenwood? No one could say for sure, but the legends were enough to keep most people away. One night, a group of friends, Liam, Ava, Noah, and Emma, decided to unravel the mystery of Ravenwood. They were thrill seekers, always on the hunt for the next big scare. This time, they bit off more than they could chew. As they crossed the town's boundary, an eerie silence fell. The wind stopped, and even the insects seemed to hold their breath. Their goal was simple: explore the old abandoned mansion on the hill where the most terrifying stories originated. It was said that anyone who dared to enter after sunset would never be seen again. The group, equipped with flashlights and a sense of invincibility, pushed forward, ignoring the dread that crept into their minds. The mansion was a relic from another era, its grand facade crumbling, windows shattered, and ivy creeping up the walls like fingers reaching for the sky. As they approached, the temperature dropped, and a thick fog rolled in, cloaking the building in an otherworldly glow. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with the scent of decay. Their flashlights flickered, casting shadows that danced on the walls. Every creak of the floorboards echoed through the silence, amplifying their unease. The group stuck close together, their nervous laughter masking their fear. In the grand hall, they found a large, ornate mirror covered in dust. As Emma wiped it clean, their reflection stared back at them, distorted and twisted. Suddenly, a shadow moved behind them. They spun around, but there was nothing there. The mirror, however, showed a figure standing just behind them, cloaked in darkness. Panic set in. Liam, always the skeptic, tried to rationalize it as a trick of the light, but deep down, he knew they had crossed a line. They decided to leave, but the mansion had other plans. Doors that once stood open slammed shut, trapping them inside. Their flashlights dimmed, and the air grew colder. Whispers filled the halls, indistinct but undeniably present. Noah suggested they head to the basement, hoping to find another way out. The stairs creaked under their weight, and the darkness seemed to swallow their light. The basement was worse than the rest of the house, a labyrinth of tunnels and forgotten rooms, each one more unsettling than the last. In one corner, they found a hidden door, barely visible in the dim light. Inside, they discovered a small room, walls lined with shelves of old books and jars filled with strange, unidentifiable objects. A large, circular symbol was carved into the floor, pulsing with a faint blue light. As they stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind them. Panic turned to terror as the room began to close in. The shelves toppled and the floor seemed to shift beneath their feet. Ava screamed, pointing at the symbol. It was glowing brighter, and from it, shadows began to emerge, swirling and taking shape. A figure formed in the center of the room, a being made of shadows and light, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly blue. It spoke without words, its presence filling their minds with a voice that was neither male nor female, but something far beyond human understanding. "You have awakened me," it said. "For centuries, I have waited, bound to this place by those who feared me. Now you must pay the price for disturbing my slumber." The group tried to plead, to reason, but their words were swallowed by the entity's overwhelming presence. It reached out, and as its hand touched each of them, they felt their minds being pulled into darkness. In a last desperate effort, Liam remembered the mirror in the hall. He had read somewhere that mirrors could trap spirits. With every ounce of strength he had left, he broke free from the entity's grasp and ran back upstairs. The others followed, fear propelling them forward. They reached the hall, but the mirror was no longer there. Instead, a portal of swirling light had taken its place. The entity pursued them, its rage palpable. With no other choice, they leaped into the portal, hoping it would lead them to safety. They emerged back at the edge of Ravenwood, the mansion now a distant memory. But something was different. The town seemed alive with an energy they hadn't noticed before. They had survived, but at what cost? As they caught their breath, they realized they had brought something back with them. The shadows that once haunted the mansion now lingered around them, whispering secrets of the past and future. They had become part of the legend, bound to the town in ways they couldn't yet understand. The friends never spoke of that night again, but they knew they could never leave Ravenwood. The shadows followed them, a constant reminder of the price they had paid for their curiosity. The town had claimed them, just as it had claimed so many others. And as the years passed, new stories began to circulate. Stories of a group of friends who entered Ravenwood and never returned the same. Stories of shadows that whispered secrets, and a mansion that held the key to an ancient, terrible power. Do you believe in ghosts? What if you had to face one alone, on a deserted road, in the dead of night? This is a true story of a truck driver whose name was Jack. Jack was a seasoned truck driver. He had driven across the country, through bustling cities and quiet towns, but nothing ever unnerved him. That is, until one fateful night when he took a job that led him to the infamous Miller's Hollow Road. The road was notorious among truckers. They said it was cursed, that strange things happened there. But Jack, being a practical man, didn't believe in such tales. He laughed off the warnings and set out on his journey, his truck loaded with goods and his route mapped out. The night was dark, and a heavy fog settled over the road as Jack drove deeper into the woods. The tall trees closed in around him, their branches stretching out like skeletal fingers. His headlights struggled to cut through the dense mist, and the road ahead seemed to vanish into the darkness. Despite the eerie atmosphere, Jack kept driving, his eyes fixed on the road. The radio played softly in the background, offering a comforting distraction from the oppressive silence outside. But as he approached the curve where Miller's Hollow Road began, the radio cut to static, and Jack was left with only the sound of his own breathing and the hum of the engine. Suddenly, out of the fog, a figure appeared on the side of the road. Jack's heart skipped a beat as he saw a woman standing there, drenched from head to toe in the rain. Her long, dark hair hung limply over her face, and she wore a simple white dress that clung to her like a shroud. Jack slowed down, unsure of what he was seeing. "Are you okay?" he called out, leaning out of the window. The woman didn't respond. She just stood there, staring at him with eyes that seemed to bore into his soul. Feeling a chill creep down his spine, Jack decided to pull over. He stepped out into the rain, his boots sinking into the muddy ground. "Do you need help?" he asked, approaching her cautiously. But before he could get any closer, she vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the echo of her presence. Jack's blood ran cold. He quickly got back into his truck, his heart pounding in his chest. He had heard of ghost sightings on Miller's Hollow Road, but he had never believed them. Now, he wasn't so sure. Determined to get through this stretch as quickly as possible, Jack resumed his drive. The road seemed to stretch on forever, the fog growing thicker with each passing mile. Then, just as he thought he was clear, the figure appeared again, this time directly in the middle of the road. Jack slammed on the brakes, his truck skidding to a stop just inches from her. The woman looked up, her face now visible in the glow of the headlights. Her eyes were hollow, filled with a sadness that seemed to transcend time. She pointed towards a path leading off the main road, a path shrouded in darkness and mist. Jack's instincts told him to drive away, to leave this place as quickly as he could. But something about her gaze compelled him to follow. He turned his truck onto the narrow path, the tires crunching on the gravel as he navigated the winding trail. The path led him to an old, rickety bridge that spanned a deep black river. Jack stopped at the edge, the truck's engine idling. The woman appeared once more, standing on the bridge, her figure blurred by the rain. Jack got out of the truck and approached her. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice trembling. The woman pointed to a spot near the edge of the bridge, and as Jack followed her gesture, he saw something that made his heart stop. A small, forgotten grave marked by a simple, weathered cross. The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. This was where she had died. Jack knelt by the grave, feeling a wave of sorrow wash over him. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the sound of the rain. The woman's figure began to fade, her eyes softening as she looked at him one last time. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice a faint echo on the wind. And then she was gone, leaving Jack alone on the bridge with only the sound of the river below. Jack stood there for a long moment, the weight of what he had witnessed settling over him. He knew he had to tell someone about this place, to make sure the woman's story wasn't forgotten. He made a silent promise to return, to bring flowers and remember the life that had been lost here. As Jack drove away from Miller's Hollow Road, the fog began to lift, and the rain eased into a gentle drizzle. The haunting feeling that had gripped him loosened its hold, and Jack felt a sense of peace he couldn't quite explain. When he finally reached his destination, he knew his life had changed forever. The ghostly encounter on that dark road had left a mark on him, one that he would carry with him always. Thank you for joining me on this eerie journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales of the supernatural. Drive safely and always be cautious of the roads less traveled. Subscribe for more haunting stories.